Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. Today making $5 tree white Christmas tier tray DIYs. For this project, I'm going to be using this Dollar Tree Christmas tree and also this faux fur muffler, or I would actually call it a scarf or infinity scarf. And all I'm doing is I'm going to cut it along the seam and then I'm going to take the backing off and it comes off fairly easy. Next, I'm going to be cutting the scarf into 1 to 2 inch strips and then starting from the top, I'm going to be just wrapping the strips around and hot gluing them around the cone. While this scarf does fray, it is much better than the dust mop that we usually use for these types of projects. It shreds a lot less than the other one. For the top of the tree, I'm going to be adding a little star, and this is from 4th of July. And by the way, when you get one of these stars and they've been around other colors, all you have to do is grab a brush and just brush it off like I did. And look at this, all the blue and red sparkles are off and you have this beautiful iridescent white star. Now I'm just hot gluing it to the top of the tree. This video is part of the Sounds of Christmas collab. It is hosted by Crafty Leanie and myself. And look at these amazing creators that we have joining us today. Every creator will have a different song and all their DIYs will be based on that song. My favorite Christmas movie is White Christmas. So of course I chose I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas and all my DIYs are based on that song. When you're done watching this video, please click on the link that I provided in the description box. It will take you to the playlist where all the videos from all the creators are going to be, and you will get a ton of inspiration for this holiday season. For this project, I'm starting with this shadow box sign, and I'm also going to be using that beautiful faux fur scarf. I'm going to cut it down to size to fit into the box. I was afraid that green in the back is going to show through a little bit too much. I decided to give the inside of the sign a real quick coat of white chalk paint, let that dry, and then I'm going to hot glue the faux fur right inside my little box, making sure I stretch it out and it fits in really nicely. And then I'm going to grab one of my favorite greenery from Christmas, and it is this frosted fern. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to use the smaller pieces from the fern. I'm going to use the ones that look like Christmas trees, and I'm going to hot glue them in the middle of my little square sign to make it look like a little forest. First, I'm going to lay it out, then hot glue it in place, and then I'm going to take another 1-inch strip of that faux fur and cover the bottom edges. Now it looks like you're looking into a forest and there's trees in the back and snow in front, and it is so beautiful. And that is it for this sweet little project. For this project, I'm going to be using this spaced out little sign, and I'm going to be using the back. As usual, I'm going to heat the label a little bit, scrape it off, then sand the area down, and now I'm ready to paint. I'm going to give this sign 2 good coats of the chalk Rust-Oleum paint in linen white. Once my sign has dried, I'm going to grab this mesh. The white mesh is from Hobby Lobby. The green mesh here is from the Dollar Tree, and Dollar Tree does have this white one. I was just not able to get my hands on it this year. We're not going to be using the green one. I just wanted to show you the Dollar Tree does carry this style of mesh. Here I'm just cutting off a piece that I'm going to need. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to Mod Podge my beautiful piece of mesh onto my sign and let it completely dry for at least an hour. In the meantime, I'm going to grab these little wooden words, and this one says "Let It Snow." Dollar Tree has been doing so good with these wooden words and phrases lately. Absolutely love them. And I'm just mixing some white and gray acrylic paint to the color that I want, and I wanted a lighter gray, and I'm going to paint my "Let It Snow" in that beautiful gray color. Once both of my pieces are dry, I'm going to go around the edge of my sign and cut off any excess mesh that I have. And all I'm doing now is just hot gluing the "Let It Snow" sign onto my project, and I kind of hot glued it towards the top so when it's sitting on my tier tray, you can see the wording. For this sweet little project, I'm grabbing a Valentine's little sign from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using the back of it. Using the heat gun, I removed the label, then smoothed it out with a little piece of sandpaper, and now I'm going to give it 2 good coats of white chalk paint, and I painted all the inside and the outside edges. Next, I'm going to grab one of these snowflake ornaments, and because there's holes in one of those ending circles, I'm going to fill it with some Dollar Tree spackling, let it dry, and then I'm just going to sand it down. Next, I'm painting my ornament with a white chalk paint, letting that dry completely, and then I'm coming in with a little bit of Mod Podge, putting the Mod Podge on my snowflake, and then bring in this glitter from Walmart. And this one has iridescent flakes, but they're the bigger ones, not the smaller ones. I wanted the glitter to really stand out on this snowflake. After my snowflake has completely dried, I'm grabbing a piece of gray felt. I got this one on Amazon. I will link it in the description box below. And I'm going to cut it down to the size of the inside of the square. Now I'm just hot gluing my felt square inside my little shadow box. And then on top of that, I'm hot gluing my snowflake. And that's it. Very simple, easy, but this little project makes such a statement. For this project, I'm going to be using this Dollar Tree ornament and also these bottle brush Christmas trees. I'm going to use the smaller one. They come in a set of 2 at the Dollar Tree. And as you can see, I took the bottom off the smaller one because I'm going to take it apart a little bit to make it fit. And now I'm just taking the bristles from the bottom of the Christmas tree until I get the Christmas tree to the height I need. Then grabbing some pliers, I'm going to twist the middle of the Christmas tree wiring until it's nice and tight. Then I'm going to make it flat and curl it. And also the wiring gives us a good place where we can add the hot glue so we can attach it to the bottom of our ornament. To decorate my little Christmas tree, I'm getting my little pearls. All of these pearls are from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to be using the 3 smallest sizes, going from the smallest on top of the tree to the medium to the larger ones. And when I mean larger, I mean the 6mm ones, the really tiny white ones. And all I'm doing is just sticking the pearls on my bottle brush and just dabbing a little bit of hot glue on the end to keep it in place. And that's it. And even the smallest pearls did fit on the bottle brush, and it was so easy. And in case you were wondering, my container with all the pearls, that's from the Dollar Tree also. Next, I'm going to cover the top of my ornament, and I'm just doing that with a piece of felt. I'm cutting out a little square piece, and then I'm just putting some hot glue on top of my ornament, putting my felt on top, and then turning it over right away. That way the hot glue will pour down and seal that top in. Next, I'm grabbing this grosgrain ribbon and hot gluing it to the bottom of the lid. Make sure the lid is flat against your table and the ribbon also touching the table. The ribbon is going to be a little higher than the lid, but it's going to cover that base really nicely and it's going to fit perfectly on the ornament. Now that the hot glue has dried, I'm going to remove any excess felt along the top of our ornament. Next, I'm grabbing another piece of ribbon. I'm going to put hot glue along the side, fold it in half, and that is what I'm going to put as trim around the top of my ornament. And here I'm just hot gluing it in place. Grabbing that same grosgrain ribbon, I'm going to make a simple bow, and this is going to be what I call my sweet little bow where I use needle and thread. Putting the needle and thread through the center of the bow, then going around the bow a few times, and my thread is doubled by the way, and then just pulling it tight to make the bow stand out. And then in the back, I'm just going to make a few knots, and that's it. We have a sweet little bow. Now I'm going to cut both tails on an angle and cinch the edges, and I'm going to do this using a little tea light. You can also use a little lighter. The most important part about this process is not to touch the flame. Go right besides the flame, because if you go to the center of the flame and actually touch it, you're going to singe your ribbon and it's going to end up black on the edges, and you don't want to do that. Now I'm just hot gluing the bow in place on top of my ornament and then hot gluing a little pearl in the center. Now I'm just grabbing some faux snow, and this is the one that's like the iridescent one. And I'm just pouring maybe 2-3 tablespoons worth of it into our ornament. I'm going to take my Christmas tree, hot glue it to the lid, wait a little bit for it to settle in, make sure that it's nice and straight, and I'm just closing my little ornament, putting it upside down, tapping it a little bit so the snow goes towards the bottom of the lid, and that's it. Our little tier tray DIY is all done.